There are silences in this world that do not wound, they awaken. They arrive softly like dusk settling over a restless city when the noise of belonging fades and only the pulse of your own thoughts remains. Some people fear that silence. Others, the rare few, learn to live inside it. They walk through life quietly without a crowd to echo their every step. And to the world that worships connection, they appear strange, incomplete, perhaps even broken. But if you lean closer, if you listen to the rhythm beneath their solitude, you will hear something extraordinary, the sound of authenticity breathing. To have few or no friends in an age obsessed with social proof is to stand against a storm of expectations. Every app, every conversation, every photo reminds us that visibility equals value, that to be surrounded is to be significant. Yet some people choose a different path, or perhaps life chooses it for them. They are not lonely by weakness, but by truth. They cannot pretend, cannot contort their souls to fit the shapes that society demands. Their solitude is not emptiness. It is the quiet integrity of someone who refuses to trade their essence for acceptance. Authenticity in its purest form is rebellion disguised as peace. It means daring to exist without masks even when the world rewards performance. It means knowing that you may walk into a room and not be understood, yet remaining unshaken. These people, the so-called loners, carry within them a strange light, one that doesn't blind or shout. It simply burns steady and self-sustained. They have stopped auditioning for belonging, stopped performing for love. In doing so, they uncover a power most will never know: the freedom of being exactly who they are. Perhaps this is why their presence feels different. When you meet someone who has spent years in honest solitude, you sense it immediately. Their gaze is unhurried, their words deliberate. They do not rush to fill silences because they have made peace with them. They do not chase approval because they have learned to approve of themselves. Like an ancient tree rooted deep in the soil of its own being, they bend but do not break even when the winds of judgment howl around them. It is easy to mistake their quiet for coldness, but it is something else entirely. It is the calm of someone who no longer needs to prove. They move through life like travelers who have set down their baggage, choosing depth over noise, truth over comfort. And while others scatter themselves thin across endless circles, they retreat inward, not to escape, but to return home. I think often of Marcus Aurelius, who wrote his meditations not for the world, but for himself. He spoke of virtue of inner constancy, of walking one's path regardless of who watches. That is the essence of authenticity, to be guided by an inner compass, even when the stars of approval vanish from the sky. Those who walk this way may lose the crowd, yes, but they find their soul. Because when the lights dim and the applause fades, all that remains is the question no one can answer for you. Who are you when no one is watching? And those who have walked alone already know. There is a kind of strength that hides in silence, a strength not born from dominance or victory, but from the simple act of standing on your own 2 feet when the world turns away. Independence. It's a word that sounds ordinary, but to live it fully is nothing short of revolutionary. In a culture where validation has become a currency, independence is the quiet refusal to sell your soul for approval. It's choosing to dine alone without discomfort, to walk without needing footsteps beside you, to wake up each morning knowing that your worth is not borrowed from someone else's opinion. Those who live this way are not cold or detached. They are simply anchored within themselves. They have learned that solitude is not an absence of love, but the foundation of it, that you cannot truly connect with others until you have first connected with yourself. Look around you how many people truly stand alone. So many are terrified of the quiet of being left without an audience. They fill every moment with noise, messages, calls, scrolling through endless faces that blur together until even their own reflection feels foreign. But the independent soul moves differently. They are unafraid of the quiet room, the unanswered message, the evening without plans. Their peace does not depend on who shows up, because they have already arrived for themselves. When life tests them, and it always does, they do not crumble, waiting for rescue. They solve, they adapt, they rise. There is a discipline in their calm, a grace in their self-reliance. While others chase constant connection to escape their thoughts, the independent one builds an inner sanctuary. In that space, they learn to make choices not out of fear or need, but out of alignment. Every decision becomes a reflection of who they are, not who the world demands them to be. This independence, however, does not mean isolation. It means wholeness. It is the quiet recognition that companionship is a gift, not a requirement. When they love, they do so freely, not as a lifeline, but as an extension of abundance. They can give deeply because they no longer seek completion in another's presence. They have already met the person who will never leave them, the one staring back in the mirror. There is an undeniable beauty in that kind of strength. It is not loud, not boastful. It's the strength of someone who can walk through both praise and rejection with the same steady heartbeat. Someone who understands that freedom is not found in escaping loneliness, but in transforming it into something sacred. For when you no longer need the world to confirm your existence, you begin to see it differently. The noise fades, the air clears, the self once buried beneath expectation finally speaks, and its voice is quiet but unshakable. I am enough. To the outside world, such people may seem distant, unapproachable, even proud. But those who look closer will see something luminous, the serenity of a soul that has learned to stand alone without fear. They are not avoiding the world. They are simply walking through it without losing themselves. There is a moment in every life when the circle grows smaller and the air between people becomes thinner, not from loss, but from clarity. It's the moment when you stop saying yes out of obligation, when you begin to recognize that not everyone who smiles wishes you well. It is then that selectivity emerges, not as arrogance, but as a quiet form of wisdom. Those who have few friends often arrive at this place naturally. They have walked through enough rooms to know that connection is not measured by proximity, but by presence. They no longer crave company for company's sake. They crave resonance, that subtle recognition when two souls meet and both feel seen even without words. Such moments are rare, and these people have learned not to dilute themselves for the sake of fitting in. To the world, they may appear distant, even guarded. But what looks like a wall is often a gate, one that opens only for those who approach with honesty. They have been betrayed by smiles that did not reach the eyes, drained by conversations that felt more like performances than exchanges. So they choose carefully, not out of bitterness, but out of reverence for their time, their peace, their energy. In their world, friendship is sacred. It is not a collection of names, not a digital archive of fleeting connections. It is something alive, a bond that grows slowly, like roots intertwining beneath the soil. And because they value this depth, they are not afraid of the in-between spaces, those stretches of life where solitude takes center stage. They understand that silence is not the enemy of friendship, but its foundation. Only those who are comfortable with their own company can truly meet another without the hunger of need. In this way, their selectivity becomes an act of love not just for themselves, but for others too. For they refuse to pretend. They refuse to offer half-truths or hollow companionships that serve only to fill empty hours. They would rather wait for the right soul than settle for the wrong crowd. There is courage in that waiting, a quiet defiance against a world that rewards surface over substance. Imagine a chef, deliberate and devoted, choosing ingredients for a meal meant to nourish the soul. He knows that too many flavors can drown the taste of the essential. That is how they treat human connection, not as a feast of abundance, but as a carefully crafted dish meant to sustain something far deeper. Better to savor one true friendship than to be surrounded by many who only bring noise into one's peace. This discernment often leads them into deeper intimacy, not wider circles, but stronger bonds. When they call someone a friend, it is not out of habit, it is a vow. There is loyalty there, and presence and honesty. They will not always be easy to know, but once you are inside their world, you will never have to question your place. They've learned something precious, that solitude is not a void to be filled, but a filter that reveals what is real. And in a world that chases quantity, they quietly choose quality again and again. Because for them, love in any form is not about having more, it's about having what's true. When the noise of the world fades, what remains is the echo of your own thoughts. Some people fear that echo, they drown it in distraction, in conversation, in anything that spares them from meeting themselves. But those who spend long stretches of time alone come to know that echo intimately. They follow it down winding corridors of memory and emotion until it begins to reveal its shape. This is introspection, the art of turning inward, of listening to the quiet voice that most ignore until it vanishes. To live with few or no friends is often to become fluent in that inner language. It is to find entire universes within one's own mind, places of tenderness and mystery that no crowd can offer. When others look outward for direction, these people look inward for truth. They walk through life with an invisible lantern illuminating the unseen terrain of the soul. The world we inhabit does not make this easy. It rewards noise, opinions, updates, reactions, everything that happens on the surface. But introspection is the opposite of spectacle. It asks for stillness, for honesty, for the courage to look into the mirror without turning away. And that is precisely what these solitary souls do. In the absence of constant social reflection, they become their own observers, their own teachers. It is not always comfortable. The mirror of solitude can be harsh. It shows you your fears, your flaws, your unfinished stories. Yet within that confrontation lies transformation. Because when you stop running from yourself, you begin to understand who you truly are and why you do what you do. In that understanding, you gain something that cannot be taught: depth. Marcus Aurelius once said that the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. Those who live inwardly learn to paint with care. They study their emotions as one might study constellations, not to control them, but to see the patterns, the meaning hidden between their shining points. They learn that anger is often unhealed pain, that sadness is unexpressed love, that fear is simply the shadow of longing. In solitude, they gather these fragments and weave them into wisdom. This introspection gives them an uncommon calm. When chaos surrounds them, they do not rush to escape. They breathe, they observe, they choose their response. It is not indifference, but awareness, a serenity born from knowing that storms too are part of the weather of being alive. Their inner life becomes a sanctuary, a garden tended with patience. While others seek distraction from discomfort, they cultivate peace through understanding. They know that the most profound conversations often happen in silence, that the most important companionship begins within. And perhaps that is why they seem different, grounded, centered, untouchable, in a way that feels almost otherworldly. They have built a friendship with themselves, one strong enough to withstand absence, rejection, or misunderstanding. They are not lonely. They are in dialogue with something eternal. In an overstimulated world, this capacity is a kind of superpower. It allows them to see clearly when others are blinded by noise, to act with integrity when others react in fear. Their solitude is not an escape from life, it is the space in which they learn to live it fully, because the one who has made peace with their own company can never truly be alone. There comes a moment, quiet, almost imperceptible, when solitude transforms from a condition into a calling. It happens after the tears have dried, after the long nights of wondering why the path feels lonelier for some than for others. In that moment, you realize that what you thought was emptiness was actually space for growth, space for becoming, space for light to enter. Growth is the silent triumph of those who walk alone, not the kind that shouts in achievement or glitters in recognition, but the kind that hums beneath the skin, subtle and steady. It is the expansion of awareness, the deepening of understanding, the unfolding of selfhood that solitude makes possible. While others are entangled in the noise of the world, those who embrace isolation become their own horizon. They rise not above others, but within themselves. Seneca once wrote, "Resistance is an opportunity for virtue." The solitary soul knows this truth intimately. Each season of aloneness becomes a forge where resilience and wisdom are born. Without the constant validation of others, they learn to validate themselves. Without the chorus of voices telling them who they should be, they begin to listen to who they already are. In the stillness, they hear something most people miss, the faint but unmistakable pulse of becoming. This growth changes how they see everything. Where others chase pleasure, they seek meaning. Where others flee discomfort, they lean into it, knowing that pain too has a purpose. It is not that life becomes easier, it becomes truer. They begin to recognize the sacred in the ordinary, the sunrise through an open window, the sound of rain against glass, the steady rhythm of their own breath. Each moment stripped of distraction becomes a teacher. Through solitude, they develop a wider perspective, like standing at the peak of a mountain, looking down at the valleys where the rest of the world rushes by. From that height, you no longer see life as a series of random events, but as a pattern of unfolding lessons. You understand that the heart's fractures are not signs of failure, but the places where light enters. That loneliness is not exile, but initiation. Such growth cannot be measured in accolades or followers. It is felt in the quiet confidence of someone who knows their worth without needing to declare it. In their presence, you feel grounded, as if they have touched something eternal and brought a piece of it back with them. They have turned solitude into wisdom, pain into poetry, silence into truth, and perhaps that is their greatest gift to the world. They remind us that we are not defined by how many stand beside us, but by how deeply we stand within ourselves. They show us that solitude, when embraced, does not diminish life, it deepens it. That the fewer voices we allow into our lives, the clearer our own becomes. So if you have ever felt like an outsider, like someone walking a quieter road while the rest of the world dances in crowds, know this: you are not behind. You are becoming. You are not unloved. You are learning to love in ways that do not depend on being seen. And one day, you will look back and realize that what you once called loneliness was actually your soul's invitation to grow wings. Thank you for listening, for sharing this silence, and for walking this path of reflection with me. If this journey has touched something in you, if it reminded you of your own strength, your own depth, I invite you to carry it forward. Like, share, and subscribe to help this message reach others who may need it. And in the comments, tell me, what has solitude taught you about yourself? Because in the end, the loneliest paths often lead us back home, to the one place we were always meant to arrive ourselves.